This video contains graphic and disturbing content of every possible nature. Viewer discretion is advised. Last night, police got an anonymous tip about trespassers in an abandoned textile and paint factory. The call had been made from a telephone booth not far from the site. In a workshop outside the factory, police found a shocking discovery. Body parts from 5 different victims were found inside. Some remains had been sewn together into something resembling clothing. A set of stairs led down into what would be dubbed the cage room. It was evident that the room had been lived in for a long time. The missing remains of known victims, as well as an unidentifiable body, were found here. The room was oozing with the stench of decay and death. A body in a state of severe decomposition was lying on the mattress. On a table in the room was a camera with 3 photos. Here are the photos. A bowl outside the cage was filled with human urine. Inside the cage, the missing remains of Corey and Margaret Beck were found sewn together. Beside the mattress stood a bucket containing several male genitalia. Inside the factory itself, more gruesome discoveries would be made. In what had once been the locker room, 2 bodies were found hanging from the same rope. One of them could be identified as Jim Lee. The other body was unidentifiable. Deeper inside the factory, police found what would be dubbed as the paint room. Here, several paintings were found. One of them seemed to be unfinished. While most are unknown, some of the paintings could be linked back to victims as far as 5 years ago. Here are the paintings. Emma's Last Smile, Bloated Betty, Stone Loop, Mark the Machine, Milk Teeth Heath, The Collins, Untitled. In the ceiling of the next room, the missing Jones family were found. A chain had been dragged through their bodies. They were all in different states of decomposition. In the basement of the building, more bodies were found. 4 victims had been partially eaten. The identity of these victims are yet unknown. Here, police also found their colleague, Sarah Stone, and her husband. Their mouths had been sewn to each other's rectal openings. They had both been force-fed rocks. Going even deeper down, the police entered the sewer system. Here, the police found what would end up being the turning point of the case. The phrase, "once you've been to hell, you never come back," is something that Tina Rosenberg said in an interview not long after surviving her attack. Here is the clip from the interview.
Do you think that you've recovered from this ordeal?
I'll never recover. I'll never be the same. Those people took me to hell. And once you've been in hell, you never come back.
This prompted authorities to conduct a wellness check on Tina Rosenberg, who was living with her mother at the time. Officer Nathan Cole was the first to respond since he was in the area. What he encountered in that house was truly bizarre. This is the footage from Nathan's body camera.
Raise your hands right now! Do not move! Do not move! Stop! Let me see your hands right now! Let me see your hands! Do not move! You understand?
Tina's eyes and ears had been punctured with a pair of knitting needles. She was not aware that she was being rescued, and kept screaming for 20 minutes. Tina's mother, Tina Rosenberg, had been dismembered in her kitchen. The autopsy revealed that the killer behind the mask was former police officer Bill Collins. Presumed dead, police are still not sure why his DNA was found with his family remains. Mona Lanius was apprehended by Officer Nathan Cole. She's confessed to more than 100 murders and is now awaiting trial. Guys, I can fix her! Oh my god! How in the hell did this video not get age restricted? It looks like after almost a year and literally everyone in their grandmother's kitchen sink shitting down Urban Spook's throat, he decided to come back with a 3D animation that looks like a combination between realism and an oil painting. Not only did he take what people was saying was wrong with his other entries and correct them, adding animation to help with the visuals, and making the story much more cohesive with connections appearing to things that many claimed were random loose ends. He also doubled down on one of the most heavily critiqued aspects of his series. Say whatever you want about that. Whether you think it's good or bad, one thing remains undeniable. This man has balls. Not only balls, we have our culprits. And one was Officer Bill Collins. Bill evidently did not perish with his family, and instead was the man who murdered them and put them into a barrel to rot. By the way, the police in this horror are fucking stupid. Bill is missing an arm, and they're still like, oh geez, I wonder where he could have gotten a piece of himself to put in with his family, ugh. By the way, if you share both parents, you and your siblings have the exact same DNA. So it would have just been a big fucking Collins soup anyways. Once Bill went from police to serial killer, all the IQ points left that precinct. The other was Mona Lanius, and she looks really close to an ex of mine. I'm really fascinated to see what we get from Mona once she's on the stand, because the man who seemed to be steering her into this life has been shot dead. And the only thing we really know is they took a bunch of people who were living and unmolested and made them not that. From Mona, we could learn things like victim targeting, tactics, or even what the hell the goal of this murder spree was in the first place. My bet is it's just a horrific monster's version of hedonism. But who knows? Now that we've covered the ramifications of the most pressing new information, I'm gonna dive into the parts of this new installment that I really enjoyed. The 3D animation was a huge jump. I personally think it looks amazing. This style creates a depiction of the world which looks somewhat realistic, but almost muddy and uncanny. I really enjoyed it, and as somebody who's obsessed with weird animation styles, it's an animation style I really don't think I've seen before this series. Honestly, if I were Urban, I would remaster my entire series with this style. But hey, that's a lot of work. The voice acting here, while also incredibly disturbing, really delivers on making me sick to my stomach. That woman is one hell of an actor. The subject matter was also grotesquely fascinating in many parts. So many questions you don't want answers to. Who was the Gimp Dog Man? And was he surviving off of drinking piss? Why were two bodies dangling from the same rope? 2 ropes? In this economy? What's with the chained up human centipede? Who doesn't love a good bucket full of dicks? Did the killer ever get to wear her beautiful skin dress? The people sewn up into clothing was a nice touch. I personally would love to get a human skin suit. I'd be getting all the gyat at the club, and not just because the gyats are sewn together to make the lapels. All these details come together to weave a nightmare made from abominable actions and human carrion, and it shows that a lot of time was spent creating a world meant to raise our skin from the bone. So, this leaves us with only one more stone to be overturned: the trial of Mona Lanius. If you have a theory for how this all is going to end, leave it in the comments below. I honestly have no idea. If you like this video for some reason, you should like, comment, and subscribe with all notifications enabled, or I'll pee on your feet. I want to thank UrbanSpook for making this video. Shout out the inner circle, love y'all.